we're ready to get started if everyone in our audience is ready to go. Some of my judges look like they're making friends. Yay. Good evening. Welcome, everybody. I'm so glad to see so many people out there today. My name is Julie Semlak, and on behalf of Jen DeRushi, Tira Page, Bailey Patterson, and Crystal Stratton, who are the communication faculty members here at Laramie County Community College, it is my privilege to welcome you to what I believe is the 4th annual Talon Talks Final Showcase this evening. We are thrilled to present what we think is just a great lineup of speakers, and are delighted that you chose to come spend this just beautiful evening here in November in Wyoming with us today. Tonight's program will feature 2 different categories of speakers. The first is our Compelling Voices category, and that includes traditional, either informative or persuasive speeches, the kind of speeches you think about students giving in a public speaking class. Our second category of speakers is a Creative Voices category of speakers, where students can present more ceremonial style speeches, and I can't think of other examples, so we're going to go with ceremonial style speeches at this moment. Cicero, however, once said that a good orator is both poised and impassioned, and we believe we have gathered 8 impassioned speakers for you tonight. We hope that their talent, their ideas, and their passions will make you laugh, will make you cry, and will make you think. And it is our privilege to provide them with a platform to share their passions with the Laramie County Community College community this evening. Our first speaker this evening in the Compelling Voices category is Kayla Taylor. Kayla is from Flower Mound, Texas, but has made a home here in Cheyenne with her husband and 3 children. She's planning to graduate in 2027 with an associate's degree in nursing. And in her very limited free time, she's currently training for the May 2025 Colorado Marathon. Today, Kayla will share with us some of the expertise she gained working as a medical technician in her speech, Rebuilding Breasts. Please welcome to the stage, Kayla Taylor.
The Mirror, a poem written by breast cancer survivor Dana Stewart. I lift my eyes, I see me. A tear falls. This can't be. The person in the mirror, she is different. Her skin is pale, her eyes sad. She looks back at me. Her eyes of sorrow show the emotion. It's almost like she knows me, remembers me, wonders where I have been. Why do you look different? She asks, without a word spoken. Lily Shockney, a nurse professor and writer for the National Breast Cancer Foundation, in a 2024 article, states that 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer in her lifetime. The American Cancer Society estimates for breast cancer in men in the United States for 2024 are about 2,700 new cases of invasive breast cancer will be diagnosed. Understanding breast cancer and the potential surgical options along with breast reconstruction is both beneficial for men and women. Once a woman is diagnosed with breast cancer, I'm sure her world feels like it has been flipped upside down. You could have feelings being scared, overwhelmed, and feeling hopeless. A woman's breast is a part of her. For example, it nurtures a baby during breastfeeding, and it can just show her femininity. I worked as a former certified medical assistant for a double board certified plastic surgeon in 2010 to 2013. My daily tasks would include filling tissue expanders and pulling drains from the abdomen and the breast area after surgery. I would also educate patients on the pre and post care. I want to first define what a mastectomy is. A mastectomy is the removal of breast tissue due to breast cancer or having a positive BRCA1 or BRCA2 gene, also known as BRCA. Just because a woman has been diagnosed with breast cancer doesn't necessarily mean she has to have a mastectomy. In some cases, if the cancer is small, hasn't spread, or at a low stage, she could be a better candidate for what is called a lumpectomy. In this case, it just removes the site of cancer. Chemotherapy and radiation can also be a factor in any type of breast cancer surgery or reconstructive surgeries. I will highlight the 3 most popular breast reconstruction surgeries, including tissue expanders to breast implant exchange, the DIEP flap, and the tram flap procedures. Let's begin by talking about what a tissue expander is and what this surgery would look like. According to Dr. Susan Love, a former American surgeon, states in 2015 that tissue expanders are temporary, empty implants that a surgeon will place under the skin. The patient will then come into the plastic surgeon's office about every 2 weeks to fill these with saline, allowing her skin to stretch, getting her ready for the second stage of surgery. During the second stage of surgery, the tissue expanders will be removed and a silicone breast implant is placed under her pectoralis muscle, giving her a more natural look and feel. This type of surgery may be recommended to patients with little to no excess abdominal tissue and fat. This surgery typically takes about 2 hours. Now that I have informed y'all about tissue expander to implant surgery, let's discuss the DIEP flap surgery, also known as deep inferior epigastric perforator flap. These veins and arteries are located in the iliac and groin area, and they supply blood to the lower abdominal muscles and skin. According to Dr. Cal Shipley, a surgeon who has created YouTube videos about surgical procedures, discusses that the first step is to make an elliptical incision in the lower abdominal area. The DIEP veins, along with the abdominal tissue and fat, is cut and detached. Then an incision along the inframammary fold in the inferior breast area, the chest wall is exposed, some rib cartilage is removed to fuse the DIEP vein to the internal thoracic vein. Once arteries are connected and tissue is secure in the breast area, the surgeon will close at both surgical sites. This gives the patient her own breast tissue that was once her abdominal tissue and giving her an instant tummy tuck. This surgery can take anywhere between 6 to 8 hours. My friend was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer at the young age of 31. 9 months after she completed her chemotherapy and radiation, she decided to have the DIEP flap surgery. She states in her own words that she loves her breasts, the tissue is her own, and with this type of reconstruction surgery, she doesn't have to possibly worry about implants or potential implant exchange surgeries in the future. Recovery after surgery can look different for each patient. The patient will have drains coming out of both their breast area and their abdominal area to collect any excess fluid that the body may need to secrete. Now that we have reviewed the DIEP surgery, let's learn about the tram flap surgery, also known as transverse rectus abdominis myocutaneous flap. This starts off the same as the DIEP surgery, making that lower incision in the abdominal area. But with this surgery, he or she will detach the rectus muscle, also known as your six-pack, at the pubic bone area. The DIEP veins are cut and clipped. With the rectus muscle now detached, it is then tunneled through the abdominal cavity and chest wall. The skin and muscle are pushed through where the previous mastectomy was. The rectus muscle acts as a bridge for blood vessels going to the breast mound, also known as the skin island. This surgery takes anywhere from 6 to 8 hours, and abdominal weakness and herniation are some potential disadvantages. In summary, we have discussed tissue expanders to breast implant surgery, the DIEP flap, and the tram flap procedures. According to a 2024 blog by BB Healthcare, breast reconstruction may cause you moments of resentment, anger, bitterness, and sadness. But amidst all of this, you still have the ability to keep fighting for the version of you that you love. Ironically, I found out 3 weeks ago that my own mother has been diagnosed with breast cancer. this truly has hit home for me. I feel like I have gone through the 5 stages of grief. How does this affect me? How does this affect my 2 young daughters? How does this affect my older son, who has already tested positive for a stomach gene cancer? Is he at a higher risk? Unfortunately, these thoughts flood my mind at about 2 a.m. After a few emotional breakdowns, I have accepted to acknowledge she has cancer, and I plan on being her anchor of support. Thank you.
I lost you, Kayla. Thank you so much. That was such an enlightening presentation. We appreciate you sharing.
Thank you.
So, Kayla, I'm not going to lie. I've been teaching public speaking for a while now. And I've heard thousands of speeches in my day, and I don't think I have ever had a student give a speech about breast reconstruction. Would you mind telling us a little bit about why you chose to create a speech about this topic, both, I assume, for your public speaking class, and then again to share with us this evening?
Absolutely. I think it was just honestly because I had a little bit of general knowledge about breast reconstruction, but unfortunately breast cancer is somewhat common, meaning that the breast reconstruction surgeries are more common. I just wanted to also validate anyone in the audience or anyone in the audience who knows someone who has gone through this journey. You are heard and you are seen.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. We actually have to give Kayla up now. She's on her way to her CNA class right now. So she's on a little break and going back to learn some stuff. So we're excited that she made time for us. We appreciate it. I can tell you a little bit about what's happening right now, by the way. After each of our compelling voices speakers, our 3 final round judges are taking some time to assess their performances on a rubric that ranges from the creativity of their attention catcher to the confidence of a speaker's delivery. However, all of the speakers that you hear tonight have already been through 1 round of judging because they submitted a recording of their presentation in October. And these recordings were assessed by members of the Laramie County Community College community. And then all of the final round performers had about 2 weeks to prepare for this evening's event, including a mandatory sound check last night on this very stage. So as you can see, our performers have worked really diligently over the past several weeks to put together their very best work to share with you this evening. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank our final round judges for being with us this evening: Morgan Koenig, Rebecca Sweet, and Janine Thompson. Morgan Koenig's day job is to be the executive assistant to the senior vice president of academic affairs, as well as Laramie County Community College's course coordinator. In her free time, Morgan is a member of the LCCC Chamber Orchestra and is highly involved around campus. She's also a doctoral student at the University of Wyoming, and her favorite thing about Laramie County Community College is the community. Rebecca Sweet is a graduate of Laramie County Community College and has a degree in multimedia and a second degree in music. Rebecca is also a former Talon Talks participant and was up on this stage 2 years ago in the fall 2022 Talon Talks showcase where she took 5th. We're delighted to have Rebecca back as a judge, and Rebecca is also an author, has her own side business, is a music teacher, and currently works 2 part-time jobs. Talk about keeping busy. Finally, Janine Thompson has been the owner of First Accounting Solutions for 17 years, is a LCCC adjunct accounting instructor for 12 years, and has spent the past 6 years on the Laramie County Community College Board of Trustees. Janine has been married for over 35 years and has 3 wonderful sons. And Janine would like to wish all of the Talon Talks contestants luck and has some advice for them backstage, which is to relax and just enjoy the experience. I hope they were all listening to you back there. Our next speaker, who is also in the Compelling Voices category, is Kiera Williams. Kiera wins our unofficial prize this evening for having traveled the farthest to be here tonight, as she hails from Coffs Harbour in Australia. She is here at Laramie County Community College to study psychology, as well as amaze us on the basketball court. As an amateur photographer, Kiera's life has always evolved around sports, which is reflected in her choice of topic tonight. With her speech, Finding Your Flow, the ultimate guide to peak performance, please welcome Kiera Williams.
Imagine this, you're a basketball player making that game-winning shot, or a sprinter crossing the finish line in first place, or even a soccer player scoring that final goal in a penalty shootout. In these moments, you're completely absorbed in the motion, transcending as if nothing else exists. Introduced by psychologist and founding father Mehi Csikszentmihalyi, a flow state is described as being in a complete trance, where mind and body are working perfectly together. Flow works to elevate performance, skill, and to achieve a state of enjoyment within and outside of sport. There are many moments in life where we become in a flow state and we don't even realize it. You may remember a moment where you're driving home, and when you arrive, you don't remember how you got there. Well, this is often referred as being in the zone. Tonight, I will explore how flow impacts mental focus, emotional regulation, and physical performance. With flow theory, athletes have the opportunity to elevate their performance by focusing on interconnectedness between the body and mind. An athlete's performance can be pushed further by knowing how this theory allows for a deeper understanding of focus, mental resilience, and energy. In saying this, I will first explain mental aspects of flow. Next, I will discuss the physical benefits, and finally, I will explore the strategies to achieve a full flow state. Let's begin by talking about mental aspects of flow in sport. Imagine being so absorbed in your performance that everything else seems to disappear. Well, according to Csikszentmihalyi, athletes in flow experience heightened focus, minimizing distractions. This allows for a higher execution of skill and quicker decision making. But what is happening in the brain during flow? Well, the prefrontal cortex is in charge of our thinking and planning. According to a performance and learning psychologist website based in the UK, Inner Drive states that during flow, this area of the brain goes completely quiet and is less active. This allows for other parts of the brain responsible for skill execution and focus to function better. This means in practice, you stop worrying and hesitating, making performance automatic and effortless. Furthermore, achieving flow boosts athletes' confidence through successful experiences. When athletes are in the flow state, they reinforce their abilities, creating a positive feedback loop. This helps with future performances. On top of this, athletes can further push their confidence and increase chances of flow by visualizing before competitions. According to a study in 2007, Mental Skills Training in Sport by R.S. Veely, visualization techniques are effective in aligning an athlete's mental state with their physical capabilities, enhancing their overall performance. Now that I have spoken about the mental aspects of flow, let's look at the physical benefits. When athletes are in a flow state, they achieve peak ability of performance and athletic execution. Coordination is improved, movements are more fluid, and timing is better. In addition, being in flow can change the perception of pain and fatigue. By temporarily decreasing pain awareness, athletes can push through physical barriers. Players feel less discomfort, soreness, muscle pain, and fatigue during physical demanding sessions. Ultimately, flow not only enhances competitive outcomes, but also contributes to the enjoyment of sport. When work feels effortless and exhilarating, they will stay in that sport for longer. In this way, flow theory serves as a connecting point between physical performance and the joy of a person's sport. Now that we have reviewed the physical benefits, how can we achieve flow? Well, according to an article posted by Inner Drive, there is a series of steps to achieve flow. It begins with a positive event. For me, in basketball, this could be as easy as making a layup. This positive feedback provides athletes feedback about physical and mental state building up to flow. This positive feedback leads to an increase in confidence, and more confidence allows the athlete to appraise the situation, setting new challenges and pushing to do something even harder. Certain strategies can be used to achieve flow. This can be to set clear, achievable goals that are specific to an athlete's focus. Another strategy can be to maintain balance between skills and the challenge ahead. Finding this balance can help achieve the best performance possible without feeling overwhelmed. Now that I've talked about tips to achieve flow, let's review. By discussing mental aspects, physical benefits, and effective strategies, flow theory can provide important information and helpful feedback in maintaining a mental and physical state when competing in high levels of sport. From the words of Mehi Csikszentmihalyi, the best moments in our lives are not the passive, receptive, relaxing times. The best moments usually occur when a person's mind is stretched to its limits in a voluntary effort to accomplish something difficult and worthwhile. Thank you.
Thank you. So Kira shared with me yesterday that when she was in school, she played 7 different sports. And I think you can tell just from her performance here today that sports and performance have been part of her life for a long time. So I was wondering, Kiera, if you could tell us how somebody who's maybe more of a casual athlete, somebody who maybe does running every once in a while, or maybe goes to lift at the gym a couple times a week, might be able to take some of the things that you just talked about and use them in their athletic performance.
Well, I mean, the strategies that I've talked about today, they relate to everyone. Everyone can use finding those specific goals and looking for something easy at first and then building up those to the next step, to other challenges. And so maybe also finding a routine will help with, getting in that mindset and getting in the flow and being in the zone.
So it's not just for people at your level.
No, it's for everyone.
Excellent. Yay. Thank you so much. Thank you. Congratulations. By the way, if you want to catch Kiera in action on the court, the next home game that the Laramie County Community College women's basketball team has will be next week on Tuesday, November 26th at 5:30 here in our beautiful new rec. I did tell you earlier that we have 2 categories of speeches. You have just heard 2 compelling voices speeches in a row, which are being judged by our esteemed panel that I introduced you to earlier. However, our other category of speeches, the creative voices category, is going to be judged by you, the audience. So to do this, you need your smartphone. You can log into the website Mentimeter using either you can log into menti.com and then use the yellow code, 658, that number right there, I'm not going to read it to you, or you can snap the QR code that is either on the program or up here on the screen. And so we're going to do a little practice here. Once you're logged into Mentimeter, you should see a question about Thanksgiving. Should be the first one there, specifically a question about the oldest Thanksgiving Day parade. So if I can get like a thumbs up from you when you think that you have guessed the correct answer. I have no access to what you all are putting in there if you think that it is Boston, Philadelphia, or New York that has the oldest Thanksgiving Day parade. So, okay, I don't know what you all are putting in there, but I'm hoping that all of you were able to log in and make that work. So I can tell you, those of you who picked Philly are totally right. Philadelphia's first Thanksgiving Day parade occurred in 1920 and is still the longest continuously held Thanksgiving Day parade in America. The perhaps better known Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade in New York City started only 4 years later in 1924 and is holding its 100th parade this year. Boston, which is a city, by the way, that I put in there as a foil because I couldn't think of a third famous Thanksgiving parade, did actually have a Thanksgiving parade from 1929 to 1943. But today, the most popular Thanksgiving parade in Massachusetts is actually part of America's hometown Thanksgiving celebration, which is held in Plymouth. We're now going to hear our first Compelling Voices speaker, Keely Henderson. In addition to, I totally read the wrong, sorry, I lied. Our next speaker is our first Creative Voices category speaker, Amanda Miskimen. I did not mean to skip Amanda. I hope she can forgive me backstage. Amanda is originally from Colorado. You'll see why in a minute. You don't want to miss Amanda's speech. Amanda is originally from Colorado, but has been putting down roots here in Cheyenne. She's studying psychology here at Laramie County Community College with hopes of becoming a music therapist. In her words, I want to help bring light to everyone's life that crosses my path. Today, we are going to be treated with a journey through her musical history in the presentation, The Kid I Once Was, Our Life's Playlist. Good luck.
Oh, hey, sorry. Yeah, I found it, Our Life's Playlist. It's crazy. You remember when we were little and we were just obsessed with The Wizard of Oz? Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue. That kind of ignited our passion for Broadway. We wanted to be a ballerina, singer, astronaut, all in one. We didn't care how unrealistic it was. And it just started this fire in us to keep listening to songs. And oh, you remember that third grade talent show? You sang The Phantom of the Opera with that kid Cameron. The Phantom of the Opera is there inside your mind. Just an old soul. You always have been. But it helped you. It helped you become strong and resilient. It helped through all the hard times, the countless doctor appointments, the therapies, the just trying to understand, why am I in pain? Constant phase in life. But your mom, she put it best. You're a fighter. You've always been a fighter. This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song. And you just have that power, that energy in you to keep going, keep doing everything. And you've been through some heartbreaks, like most people have. And you people pleased until it broke you. She is imperfect, but she's kind. She is good, but she lies. She is hard on herself. She is broken, won't ask for help. But without any warning, this boy came into your life, and he started helping you pick up the pieces. No chance, no way, I won't say it, no, it's too cliche, I won't say I'm in love. But now he's your husband, and your life is going so well. And through all your challenges, everything, you've just made it work. Something has changed within me. Something is not the same. I'm through with playing by the rules of someone else's game. Too late for second guessing, too late to go back to sleep. It's time to trust my instincts, close my eyes, and leap. It's time to try defying gravity, and you can't pull me down. Congratulations, Amanda. I'm so proud of us. Thank you.
We were joking yesterday that I should ask Amanda if she's excited about the Wicked movie coming out this weekend, but I feel like the answer is pretty self-evident. Thank you so much for singing for us today. What I really want to know, and I think probably a lot of members in our audience want to know, is what inspired you to put together a speech or a presentation like this? It was so much fun and so non-traditional.
Yeah, so my public speaking teacher was a huge influence on me, Crystal, and she, from the beginning, when we did our About Yous, she was like, oh, you said you like music, so you're going to put music in something, right? And I was like, I don't know, this public speaking, I don't. And she's like, well, just you wait. There's a celebration speech at the end, and you should do it. And as we got closer and closer to that speech, she was like, so you're going to do it, right? Something with music, right? And I'm like, sure, Crystal, yeah, I'll do that. And so I just kind of was like, ooh, how do I do this? And then I was like, I guess I'll just try the pieces of my life so far and the songs that have really stuck with me with them.
Well, I feel like it worked out pretty well for us this evening. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Now, we're going to turn our attention again to another compelling voices speaker, Keely Henderson. Oh, I lied. You need to make sure you vote. I keep getting ahead of myself. I'm so excited to hear all of our speakers. Make sure that you are voting for Amanda and her speech. I get a little time to do that. I'll stop getting ahead of myself. I'm so sorry. It didn't go ahead? It should if you move on to the next one. It doesn't. Okay, well, I am going to fix that in a minute. But instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce you to Keely Henderson, and then I will get to it. In addition to taking classes here at Laramie County Community College, Keely is also a senior at South High School and is looking forward to graduating in May with both her high school diploma and an associate's degree. I know. Keely wants to be a physical therapist as well as advocate for those who, in her words, might not realize they are beautiful just the way they are. Today, to share her speech, Practitioner Pitfalls with Eating Disorders, please welcome Keely Henderson.
Good luck. Thanks. Gaunt face, dull hair, fragile skin. It was as if the vivacious girl who had once loved life had been diminished into a shell of herself in a matter of weeks. I sat slumped in the waiting room of the doctor's office, waiting to be delivered from the anorexia nervosa that had hijacked my head, riddled my heart, and annihilated my relationships. What my family and I received instead was a weak response that my debilitating weight loss and obsession with health was just a phase. This was the predicament I found myself in 5 years ago, as my mind and body were tormented and ravaged by despicable eating disorder. Mind you, I used to think I could never succumb to such a mental illness. I was steadfast in my beliefs, couldn't be manipulated by external influences, and had a positive, healthy self-image. In reality, I didn't even know what an eating disorder was before it had clawed itself into me. All that being said, an eating disorder can affect any and everyone. Anorexia often disguises itself as self-discipline, determination, and health, while binge eating disorder is demonized as laziness and a lack of self-control. So it is evident that it'll take a cultural shift to reverse this calamity. But general practitioners are also plummeting into pitfalls in their role as first responders in this consumption crisis. Additionally, medical educational programs neglect to have adequate training on eating disorders, and explicit and implicit bias can prevent critical populations from receiving the care that they need. So let's dive into some data. Unfortunately, despite the fact that 9% of the US population, or an estimated 28.8 million people, will suffer from an eating disorder during their lifetime, as reported in the Economic Cost of Eating Disorders by the Strategic Training Initiative for the Prevention of Eating Disorders, general practitioners lack life-saving education on this psychiatric illness with the highest mortality rate in the world. With the plethora of conditions that general practitioners see on any given day, it's unrealistic to expect them to be knowledgeable on all rare and selective conditions. But with the widespread impact of eating disorders and the havoc they wreak on all systems of the body, it is essential that they have the tools and training to handle this complex condition. A recent survey just published in the May 2024 issue of the Postgraduate Medical Journal revealed that most medical students will receive only 2 hours of emphasis on eating disorders during their entire 4 to 6 years of undergraduate studies. Not surprisingly, most individuals with an eating disorder will go undiagnosed. In Harvard's Colloquy podcast, Eating Disorders Are Lethal, We Don't Treat Them That Way, Paul Mazzuri interviewed eating disorder expert Ann Becker. Becker revealed the sad reality that some studies report that up to 50% of individuals who show up in a primary care setting with an eating disorder are not identified as having one. The earlier that an eating disorder is identified and treated, the higher likelihood of success and future well-being for the individual. But clearly, this approach is not being enacted upon, as Beat Eating Disorders, the premier eating disorder charity in the United Kingdom, reports that most youth with an eating disorder will be deferred critical treatment for 176 weeks, with that number jumping to 256 weeks for those over the age of 19. This is due to a coupling of an individual's own hesitancy to seek treatment, as well as multitude of roadblocks that we find in our current healthcare systems across the globe. Even more problematic are the stereotypes and misconceptions revolving around eating disorders that lead practitioners astray and leave patients to fend for themselves. The stereotypical view of an eating disorder patient is a white, teenage, anorexic teenager with a low BMI who's exercising excessively and restricting calories exorbitantly. However, this leads to a huge disparity in reaching the people who truly need care. The National Association of Anorexia Nervosa and Associated Disorders reports in their eating disorder statistics sheet that fewer than 6% of individuals with an eating disorder are medically diagnosed as underweight, and that those with a higher body weight are actually at a heightened risk of developing an eating disorder. This is especially true in America, where binge eating disorders are the most prevalent ones. Furthermore, eating disorders do not discriminate based on age, race, gender, or ethnicity. ANED reports that Black, Indigenous, and people of color suffer from eating disorders at rates similar to their white peers, but they're about half as likely to be diagnosed as having one. We need to focus on eradicating this dictator of disease for all generations to come. By mandating that all licensed general practitioners incorporate standardized screening procedures, we can ensure that there's equality in care. Evidence provided through Elizabeth Rowe's Early Detection of Eating Disorders in the General Practice from 2017 supports the use of the SCOFF questionnaire. This is a tool that allows general practitioners to use 5 quick questions to evaluate the likelihood that a patient is suffering from an eating disorder. A positive test result can indicate the need for further assessment and questioning of the patient. This tool is evidence-backed, and it allows practitioners to act quickly when time is at stake for these patients. Furthermore, general practitioners can gain valuable insight from the family and caregivers of the patients that are suffering. They should validate caregiver concerns regarding dietary and exercise habits and act upon the provided information. Most importantly, the National Institute for Health and Career Excellence's 2017 Eating Disorder Guidelines emphasize that general practitioners' greatest tools is their critical thinking skills and experience, and that that diagnosis is often delayed when doctors inadvertently collude by over-investigating and referring to specialties rather than confronting the possibility of an eating disorder. Quick cooperations between all parties involved is essential for ensuring improvement in the patient's condition, enabling us to envision a world where practitioners, patients, and their families all bring together their expertise and training to create a therapeutic intervention that will be a platform for success for the patient. So, as we can see, clinicians certainly aren't the only ones to blame. A patient's unwillingness to seek help, accessibility to specialists, and insurance policy pitfalls all hamper one's ability to get eating disorder care. However, they are the ones on the front line with readily available access to patients and the ability to enact change. To reiterate, the lack of emphasis on this killer mental illness that leaves lifelong implications on all systems of the body is a serious misstep on the part of medical field and educational institutions and society. Medical students must be equipped with the necessary tools and training to handle this complex condition, and that starts with early prevention and diagnosis. They also must refrain from allowing prejudice to impact their practice, and it's their duty to verify and corroborate pretentious warning signs. There is no reason that an identifiable and treatable but lethal mental illness should be handled with such laxity. It is up to all of us to enact change if we don't want this silent killer to be dismissed as just a phase. Thank you.
Keely, thank you so much for sharing about this tough but really important topic. Last night we were talking about some ways that people maybe mask their eating disorders, maybe people who have relapsed or even people who develop eating disorders outside of the traditional age that those eating disorders are developed. And I was wondering if you might share some of those things so that we can look for them to maybe do some early intervention with our friends and loved ones.
Yeah, usually there's like a lot of social withdrawal and they'll make up like excuses about why they can't engage in things. A lot of times there'll also be like a lot of like bulky clothing that they wear to either like cover up any weight loss that's happening, or if they have engaged in binge eating or have like body dysmorphia, that's also something that they tend to do. And it's really just like any changes. Sometimes people are really good at hiding it, but you can definitely notice if you're like intuitive to that kind of stuff and you're able just to, see that they're taking like bathroom breaks right after a meal. A lot of people can hide stuff like that, or like using their tissue even excessively and spitting into it after. Like, it's definitely changes your life. So
well, thank you so much for those things to look for, and good luck and congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So while our judges deliberate, I have a little trivia contest for you. We're going to go totally lo-fi because on our technology, we did get Amanda's Mentimeter score fixed. So I'm going to go back to that in case you weren't able to get to it before, so that you can go ahead and assess if you would like Amanda's presentation, focusing on The Kid I Once Was, Our Life's Playlist. And while you're doing that, since we're at a public speaking event, I have some famous quotations for you, and let's see how well you can identify who said what. And to do that, I'm gonna give you a quotation. Just shout out if you think you know who said it. We're gonna start easy. I'm gonna ease you in. By the way, I don't do accents, so just warning you. I have a dream today. Who said that? Martin Luther King. Dr. Martin Luther King said that on August 28th, 1963. By the way, that famous part of his speech, the whole run explaining his dream, totally off the cuff. That's not what he intended to talk about that day. And there was a woman in the audience who had heard him talk a little bit about his dream earlier and shouted for Martin to tell them about his dream. And that is what inspired one of the most famous speeches of the 20th century. Anyway, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. That was Kennedy during his inauguration, January 20th, 1961. He also said, gave us this nugget of wisdom, let us never negotiate out of fear, but let us never fear to negotiate. Good advice, I think, always. Here's one. You can't handle the truth. Jack Nicholson said it, but who wrote it? So that is from the teleplay turned movie A Few Good Men that was written by Aaron Sorkin. The play was written in 1968. The movie was made in 1989. I totally read that wrong. I'm sorry. And the movie was made in 1992. The role of Colonel Nathan Jessup was originated on stage by Stephen Lang, but of course we all think about Jack Nicholson's iconic portrayal in the 1992 movie by the same name. In politics, if you want anything said, ask a man. If you want anything done, ask a woman. Similar, a little bit later, and across the pond. Margaret Thatcher said that in 1965. And then I have one last one. If you have brains in your head, you have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself in any direction you choose. Dr. Seuss, Theodore Geisel, from Oh, the Places You'll Go, that was published in 1990, which I found a little late for a Dr. Seuss book. But anyway, our next speaker, also a compelling voices speaker, is Ireland Barnes. Ireland is from Loveland, Colorado, and will be applying to the ultrasound program in the spring. Ireland's been an athlete her entire life and also plays on the women's basketball team here at Laramie County Community College. When she's not at school or in the gym, she enjoys spending time hiking with her 3 sisters. Today, Ireland will share with us her speech, The Secret for a Longer and Healthier Life. Please join me in welcoming Ireland Barnes. Did I make a boo-boo again? You're not Ireland. That was a funny noise. They're gonna fire me from my job as announcer. You're Ireland. Oh, I know what I did. I'm just gonna quit. Ireland, good luck.
Thank you. In the past year, 70% of adults reported to be anxious. Roughly 1 in 3 reported difficulty sleeping, and 1 in 5 women and 1 in 10 men are at risk for dementia. This means the odds of you not experiencing one of these 3 problems throughout your life is very slim. However, there is something that can help combat all 3 of these effects. That something is exercise. I have been very physically active my whole life and have experienced firsthand how exercise can help decrease stress levels and improve sleep. I have also seen through my grandparents how it can help improve health in old age. For example, my grandpa, who is 74, is still playing hockey. Because he has been so active in the past couple years, his mental and physical health are still both in great shape. However, my other grandpa has not been as active in the past couple years, and he is only 68, and his mental and physical health is nowhere near as good. That being said, today we will learn how exercise can help decrease stress levels, improve sleep, and potentially increase lifespan. Let's begin by talking about the positive effects exercise has on stress. Exercise can act as a stress reliever for the mind and the body to calm it from daily worries. According to Cleveland Clinic, a nonprofit medical center, research from 2022 shows how physical activity can increase the production of your brain's feel-good neurotransmitters. These are called endorphins. When you're nervous, the nerves in your body send that signal to your brain, telling your brain you're nervous. Your brain can then release endorphins to block these nerve signals. This means the more you exercise, the more endorphins will be released, causing you to feel relaxed. Exercise can also cause stress hormone levels to drop. Adrenaline and cortisol are your main 2 stress hormones, and if they are too high for too long, it can cause the body not to function properly. According to a 2023 study at Mayo Clinic, a nonprofit medical center, adrenaline causes blood pressure to increase, while cortisol increases glucose to the bloodstream. An imbalance in this can cause you to feel stressed. But when your brain releases endorphins, it decreases the amount of adrenaline and cortisol being released to your body, helping you feel peace. Now that I have informed you about the positive effects exercise has on stress, let's talk about its effects on sleep. According to research in 2024 by Johns Hopkins, a private research university, exercise can help you fall asleep faster and improve your quality of sleep. It explains how exercise increases your core body temperature and when lowered again, it can help you feel sleepy. Elevation in your core body temperature signals your internal body clock it's time to be awake. So after about 30 to 90 minutes, once you're done exercising, your core body temperature begins to drop, and the decline is what makes you feel sleepy again. Exercise can also make you tired simply from working so hard. Exercising during the day can wear you out so you're ready to go to bed by night. Of course, everyone's bodies are different, so you have to find what works best for you, but most people found that exercise has a positive impact on their ability to sleep. Now that we have reviewed how exercise can improve sleep, let's talk about how it can increase lifespan. Exercise can help you lead a longer and healthier life. Even a little exercise is better than no exercise at all. According to Bajam, who has her bachelor's in medicine and surgery, a 2023 article explains that people who maintain a physically active life and a healthy weight live an average of 7 years longer than those who don't. This is because exercise can help your brain and body stay fit, which leads to better mental and physical health in old age. People who regularly exercise also may be up to 20% less likely to develop dementia. This is because exercise helps stimulate your brain and keep your memory in use. So participating in regular activity can keep your brain active, therefore reducing the risk of dementia. Now that we have talked about the positive effects of exercise, let's review. Today we learned how exercise can have a positive impact on the brain and the body. First, we learned how it can decrease stress levels. Next, we learned how it can improve sleep. And lastly, we learned how it can decrease your risk of dementia, potentially increasing lifespan. We all struggle with different things in our life. However, exercise can be a great outlet and can improve many aspects of it. If you find yourself struggling with stress, sleep, or health problems, maybe a little extra physical activity is just the thing you need.
Ireland, you shared with me that you've been an athlete most of your life, and I think we can all agree that being a college-level athlete takes an incredible amount of commitment. What suggestions do you have for people who maybe aren't as committed as you are to exercising and being athletic to get started maybe exercising during our cold, dark, windy Wyoming winters?
Yes, so I think the most important thing is finding something that you enjoy doing, because if you don't enjoy doing it, then there's not really a point in doing it. And I think an easy way to get started is going on walks or something light that you can enjoy with friends as well, or doing something such as yoga inside during the winter, or even a game of pickleball with friends, something that will keep you going and help your body stay moving.
Excellent advice. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck. We are now ready for our second Creative Voices speaker, Sadie Marie Primus. Sadie comes to us from Arlington, Texas, and is studying psychology here at Laramie County Community College in hopes of becoming a therapist. Today, Sadie is going to share with us an original piece to which she has a personal connection. To those who haven't left us, please welcome Sadie Marie Primus.
We walk through the grocery store, picking up eggs, bananas, bread, tomatoes, and this all feels incredibly normal. It doesn't cross our minds if the person next to us picking up lunch meat is planning to take their life that night. Most of society strays away from mental health topics because it feels uncomfortable. You get told, it's all in your head, and although it is all in your head, they can't see it, but you can feel it. And that doesn't make it any less valid than any sort of physical illness. I think it breaks the moon's heart too when she looks at me and sees me feeling ever so blue. You know, I called my mom today to tell her I really need help, and we talked about the weather instead. I think I knew it was getting bad again when a smile became much more difficult to provide than a frown, and the room didn't light up when I was around. So I decided to set a timer for 10 minutes. A lot can happen in 10 minutes. I cleaned my room and made my bed in 4 minutes. 6 minutes left. I wrote my notes in 2 minutes, 4 minutes left. I leave my room, I hug my parents and my siblings. I love you, I say to them. They look confused at me. My siblings say it back, but not my parents. That takes about 3 minutes, 1 minute left. I go back to my room, the pills are in my hand, and the timer goes off. Why do we push mental health away? Is it denial, fear, anger? Maybe a bit of everything. The more you push mental health away, the more it pushes you until you find yourself standing on the edge of a bridge while on the phone with a 988 operator. We hear all the time that time heals all wounds. And if this was true, then why is poetry harder to write and the days harder to fight with each tick of the clock that passes? Tell me, what does one do when they reach the end of their list of coping mechanisms and still wish themselves dead? Now, I'm not going to stand here and tell you the violent ways that individuals take their lives, but I will tell you that there is absolutely no way around suicidal ideation, depression, grief, trauma, anxiety. Only through. Maybe then, that way, you can understand yourself a little bit too. But believe it or not, one day, with hope and resilience, that melancholy feeling will fade slowly. And you'll be able to eat cake on your birthday and dance in the rain like no one is watching and say it's okay when your clothes start to feel just a little bit tighter. You'll be able to look in the mirror and accept that change is for the better. Although recovery is possible, many people take their lives before they even reach that point. If you or a loved one is struggling, please reach out. Mental health matters. It's never worth pushing away, no matter the circumstances. And to those who haven't left, I'd love to bump into you at the grocery store picking up lunch meat. Thank you.
Sadie, thank you so much for sharing just such an important and emotional piece with us. I know that I'm not alone in feeling sometimes just helpless when I find somebody that I love or somebody that's close to me is feeling suicidal, particularly when I think I want to help. Is there something I can do? Which I know is sometimes not a very useful response. So Sadie, I was hoping that you might be able to share with us some things that we can do, even just small things in our everyday lives to help people that we might not even know are in emotional distress.
Right. I believe there would be, in my opinion, the two most biggest important things that we can do is one, treat others with kindness. I really believe that it's important to treat one another with kindness because we don't know what individuals could be going on in their life behind doors. Even if it's someone that you're not particularly very close to, like I said, they could be planning to take their life that night. Another one is never just make assumptions because even our happiest, most bubbly, excited friends could also be struggling with mental health. And it's important that they feel validated just as much as someone who's loudly expressing how hurt they are feeling.
Those are some great suggestions. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Don't forget that you can go ahead and vote for Sadie and her presentation to those who haven't left us. And while you're doing that, we're going to move on to our final Compelling Voices speaker of the night, Ariana Valley. Ariana is currently majoring in the health and wellness pathway in hopes of becoming a functional medical doctor. Although she was born in Denver, Ariana made her way to Cheyenne at the age of 13 and has been in Wyoming ever since. Ariana chose this topic because she had a chronic illness and couldn't understand the cause of it, and she came to the realization that about the American food system that she never understood before. Today she's going to share some of that information with you in her speech, Why Americans Don't Understand Nutrition. Please welcome to the stage Ariana Valley.
Good evening, everybody. Today I'm going to start off by asking all of us some questions. How many of us here today have personally faced a chronic illness or have had somebody close to us face a chronic illness? How many of us today know somebody who has been through something difficult like cancer or even heart disease? The sad reality is that it's almost all of us, right? Although these may not be the easiest questions to answer or even acknowledge, the seriousness and likelihood that these are conditions nearly every single one of us will face as an American are extremely high. According to the American Public Health Association, Access November 2024, when compared to other high-income countries, the United States ranks 34th in life expectancy, and we perform poorly on most measures of health, all the way from obesity to even chronic disease. According to Bloomberg Index 2019, one of the very reasons that may be is one small thing: the limit of access to healthier diets that include fresh ingredients and far less processed or prepackaged foods. Now, one of my favorite things about being an American is how we have such a wide variety of options for so many different things, including the control of our health. While I've worked for years toward the betterment of my own nutrition, what I was taught, and what most of us were taught, is essentially to follow the food chart and that moderation is key. While I don't completely disagree with that today, I think it can be an awfully misleading considering the ingredients that we have in our food today can be substantially detrimental to our health, except we're not told about them. So today I'm here not to convince you, but to present you with the information that I feel like so many of us are lacking. So here's that information. Now, the first ingredient on the agenda today is an ingredient that most people don't think about when they're reading a label, but for the most part, it's in every single product that we consume: pesticides. Now, when studying up on pesticides, according to the University of New Hampshire Access 2024, pesticides largely work by active ingestion. This means that the pesticides must be eaten by the insects in order to damage them. Then the virus takes over the infection of certain insect cells. These cells then burst and die, specifically the cells of the gut lining first. The same article states it's not that pesticides aren't poisonous to us, it's just the amount in which we ingest. However, what does that look like when nearly every single product that we consume from a day-to-day basis, all the way from the fruits and vegetables in our fridge to even the grain that was used to make the pasta that we eat, was just pumped full of these chemicals? According to a study done by the American Chemical Society, it showed that pesticides penetrated the pulp of each fruit and vegetable, and that traditional fruit cleaning methods cannot fully remove pesticides. According to a study done by MD VIP 2023, 2/3 of Americans are living with gut issues but have no understanding as to why. It seems to be more than a coincidence that these chemicals are specifically designed to attack the gut lining of the insects that ingest them, and every year tens of millions of Americans are being diagnosed with gut issues. Now, the second ingredient on the agenda today is the ingredient that we might hear all of our crazy aunts mention on Facebook from time to time: food dyes. Food dyes are in a considerable amount of our food, and we're completely unaware of it. Tons of common brand products such as Trix cereal, Kraft macaroni and cheese, Yoplait yogurt, and just about every candy on the market. According to the National Institute of Health 2012, food dyes were originally synthesized from coal tar. Now, they're being synthesized by petroleum, both of which are largely known toxins and carcinogens. Red 40, Yellow 5, Yellow 6, and Blue 1 have been found to be contaminated with a multitude of carcinogens. Numerous studies on Yellow 5 prove that it damages our DNA. Numerous studies on Citrus Red 2 and Orange B also pose safety concerns. Now, the problem isn't specifically that we're knowingly bringing these products into our household. It's that sometimes we're completely unaware. Who here buys oranges at the grocery store from time to time? Now, where do we find citrus red too? In a selection of Florida oranges. Even if we don't intend to intentionally, one way or the other, we're still bringing these products into our household without being informed. Now, the last ingredient I'm going to mention today is found in almost every single food product that you can find in America, from your favorite fast food restaurant to even the healthiest prepackaged foods you can buy. Seed oils. According to the National Institute of Health 2017, the 20th century has brought a 20-fold increase in the consumption of vegetable oils due to the recommendation to consume these oils. While these recommendations have been largely followed since the 1960s, there has recently been some call for concern. According to another study done by the National Institute of Health 2022, it has recently been discovered that the American Heart Association was paid off by Procter & Gamble to say heart disease was caused by saturated fats, not seed oils and sugar. The problem is that the 1961 American Heart Association advice is arguably one of the most influential nutritional pieces ever published, as it came adopted first by the US government in 1980 for a policy for all Americans, as well as the World Health Organization. However, they were paid off to distribute this information. The American Heart Association accepted $20 million in today's money in funding from Procter & Gamble, a corporation that conveniently makes and sells Crisco oil. The American Heart Association then recommended that everybody replace butter with heart-healthy alternatives, such as vegetable oil or Crisco. According to a study done by the University of California 2023, researchers examined the gut of mice that were consistently fed a diet high in soybean oil for 24 weeks in a lab. While doing so, they found that all beneficial bacteria decreased, and harmful bacteria, specifically E. coli, increased. These conditions promoted the chances of certain inflammation and gut disorders. Now, most of us in America today do not have the time, the financial opportunity, or even the acreage to be able to grow enough food to sustain our family. A majority of us are getting a large amount of food from the grocery store, and solely the grocery store. While there are certain things that we can do to mitigate our own chances of being exposed to these ingredients on a daily basis, when the information is being kept from us and even hidden for the sake of corporate profit, it's nearly impossible to do completely. The problem isn't fully our fault, it's a systemic issue. Today I provided you with the information not to convince you one way or the other, but so that you have the information. These are things that I went a majority of my life without finding out, and it's largely damaged my health because of it. We're never going to completely avoid pesticides, seed oils, or even food dyes, but allowing ourselves the opportunity to mitigate these things can increase the quality and potentially even the quantity of our lives. Being healthy shouldn't be a privilege. It should be our right. Thank you, guys.
Ariana, thank you very much. So we were talking yesterday about some of the things that you told us, and I was wondering, I was going to ask you, what do we do? Because you talked about how you can shop at natural grocers and things like that, but we here in Cheyenne, we have a farmer's market that's here for a few weeks of the year. But I try to eat healthy, but I didn't know that oranges have dye in them. Who knew that? And so I was wondering if you had some suggestions for people who maybe have to use the grocery stores because they're not financially able to only eat organic produce or only shop at natural grocers or Sprouts or someplace like that. If you have any suggestions for how to be able to eat a healthier or a cleaner diet, but still maybe having to use some of the more mainstream sources of food in the United States.
Of course, that's a great question. I think it's largely going to depend on what your family looks like. For me personally, my family is very blessed where we were able to switch a lot of our shopping over to natural grocers. They sell only organic produce. And then when it comes to prepackaged food, I'm just very diligent about reading labels, making sure that we don't bring that stuff into the home. But if your family's not potentially in that situation, I would say the best thing that you can do is really just read the labels that you can, and as much as possible, not bring ultra-processed food into your household. because that's where you're going to find a lot of those seed oils, a lot of those food dyes. Those are all going to add up in prepackaged foods for sure.
Okay, well, thank you. Something to think about for sure.
Of course.
And as we all shop at the new Sprouts that's opening on Friday, I think is the rumor that I heard. But
November 22nd.
Okay. Somebody knows. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, you guys.
Our final speaker of the evening is also our third Creative Voices speaker. Riley Mason grew up in Pinedale, Wyoming, and is studying healthcare administration. Riley is also an avid reader and is close to finishing her 75th book of the year. Riley chose to enter Talon Talks this fall because she realized she had an inspiring story, and I think when you hear it, you will agree. So without further ado, please welcome Riley Mason and her speech, Miracles Are All Around Us. There you go. Good luck.
Thank you. Okay, well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Riley, and today I'm here to tell you a story about miracles, specifically the miracles that happened to me over this past year due to a health scare I had this summer. So a little bit of backstory about what happened. In June, I felt a pain behind my leg after sitting too long at a baseball game, and so my boyfriend Alex took me to an urgent care where they diagnosed a Baker cyst. About a couple days later, I was rubbing the pain before bed, and on my way to the bathroom the next morning, I heard a little voice tell me that I needed to lie down, and so I did, and I ended up passing out. When I came to, I called Alex. He took me to the ER where they did an ultrasound and found a DVT, also known as deep vein thrombosis, which is a really fancy way to say a blood clot behind the knee. I was having a really hard time breathing at the time, and so they took me to a CT where they found I had a pulmonary embolism, or a PE, which is a really fancy way to say blood clots in the lungs. At this point in time, they had me on 10 liters of oxygen. They brought me back to the ER room where they told me what I was diagnosed with. They then admitted me into the ICU for 2 nights. While in the ICU, they did a echocardiogram where they found a PFO, and that's where one of my miracles came. So one of the most recent miracles that happened was actually a financial one. So at the end of my hospital visit and everything, I owed over $53,000 worth in medical bills, and I do not have insurance. So that was all having to be paid out of pocket. And luckily, I just found out a couple days ago that I did get approved for financial aid assistance, and my new total is down to $22,000, which is still a lot, but is way more doable, especially because my parents set up a savings account for me when I was younger, so we were able to pay that off within the next year. And then another miracle, probably the biggest in my opinion, was that I didn't have a stroke. So with that PFO, it's fairly common. It's in about 25% of people. And basically it just looks like a little flap of skin. And really it's not a big deal. It's in your heart. It's in between the top 2 chambers. And again, it's not a big deal unless you have a tendency to get blood clots. So what can happen is those blood clots can get stuck on it. And then instead of traveling to your lungs, they travel to your brain where you have a stroke. So basically, when I was rubbing my knee before I passed out, I broke up a large blood clot into a bunch of little ones. When I stood up the next morning and walked to the bathroom, the short, probably 1-minute walk, caused them to travel all through my heart, and none of them got stuck. They all went to my lungs, and that impact is what made me pass out in the first place. All of my doctors were shocked that I didn't have a stroke. In fact, most of them were actually shocked that I didn't end up dying. They thought I came in just in time. Another miracle that came out of it was I didn't scare my boyfriend off. In fact, he actually proposed less than a month later, and we're getting married in August. And lastly, I'm going to close with this one. Thank you. My grandma once told me a story about dragonflies. She said that dragonflies have 2 sets of wings because they're carrying an angel or a loved one that has passed away. So when you see one, it means that somebody is checking in on you. And a couple days after I was released from the ICU, my parents went back home to Pinedale, and Alex and I were walking around a soccer field when out of nowhere just came a ton of dragonflies, probably 20 or 30 of them of different sizes and colors, and it was just a nice little sentiment. Whether that story is true or not is not for me to debate today. And lastly, I wanted to tell you this story because I don't want you to feel bad for me. I wanted to show you that miracles are real. And not only are they real, they are all around us. So even if in this moment in time you're not experiencing a miracle, I hope you know that they're still there. Thank you.
I join everybody in wondering first, how did you get these blood clots? And then second, what was your recovery like?
So I got these blood clots, one from sitting at a baseball game for too long, and then another thing is I have a gene mutation called factor V Leiden. It basically means that half my gene knows when to stop the clotting process, and the other half is always on, and it's always telling my body to clot. And the recovering process was pretty long. I'm still in it. So I am on Eliquis blood thinners, which those are the bottles up there. And I have gone to the multiple doctor's appointments, cardiologist, hematologist. They suggested a surgery. I get to close that PFO in case I do get any more blood clots. Then I've met with my hematologist. So many doctor visits. We have done ER trips too. So it is quite the extensive stuff.
Well, I'm glad to see you up and on your feet.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is our, as I mentioned, our final Creative Voices presentation of the night. It is the same QR code, so if you're still logged in, you're fine. But if you want to go ahead and tell us how you feel about Riley's speech, that would be delightful. And then after you have done that, we have reached the door prize time of our presentation, when I am waiting for somebody to bring the tickets up to me. I am stalling. I could do a song and dance, but trust me, you don't want me to do that. We could get Amanda out here. She's a much better singer than I am. And are we ready? Excellent. Okay, we have some door prizes, very generously donated from the Laramie County Community College bookstore. So if everybody wants to pull their tickets out, I'm just going to read the last three numbers. Who has 9? I'm sorry, I apparently have like dyslexia going on tonight, like number dyslexia. I don't know what that is, but 695. Who is number 695? Who is it? Brianna? Brianna, you won a prize? That's so exciting. Come and get it. Do we just want to do a couple of them? Looks like we have a nice LCCC cup for you and a couple of stickers. The next prize we have is for the person who has ticket number 678. 3 numbers right in a row, number 6, 7, and 8. You want us to do like 4 of them? Do we want to do like 4 of them? Ooh, yay, it's Amanda, who could come out and sing for us. Yep, she's getting a little Talon tot. Very popular in the bookstore these days. And buying one also gets you you also are giving a donation to the new playground that they are building for the, who's it for? The Children's Discovery Center, that's what it is. Up next we have one of my favorites. The bookstore has started carrying foam fingers, which just crack me up a little bit. So we have that for the person who has ticket number 674. Who has ticket number 674? That means I get the foam finger. Seems unlikely. Well, in that case, we are moving on. Oh, wait, I heard a wait backstage. Oh, it's Ariana. She's behind the stage, the thing, but trust me, she's there. And then I think we have 2 more prizes, right, Jen? Okay. Oop, we have more than 2, apparently. So the next prize that we have is going to the person who has ticket number 684. Who has ticket number 684? It's very anticlimactic when nobody claims it. It could be Kayla, right? Or Bailey has Kayla's ticket. Okay, well, in that case, we're going to give it to the person who has ticket number 683, who's probably the person who came in right before or after the person who has ticket number 684. Oh, it might be Kayla's family who left. Well, you snooze and you lose. So, instead, how about if this is 682? I'm trying to mix them up, I promise. Okay, let's try. If this is 681. It is not, it is 676. I heard a yes back here. Oh, here we go. It's Ireland. Yay! Congratulations. A nice hat and a lanyard, and I don't know what else was in there. Here we have a hat and t-shirt combination for the person who has ticket number 689. Congratulations, out in the audience. And then I can go ahead and pull out our next prize, which is one of our Laramie County Community College t-shirts that was designed by one of our communication and creative arts students. And that is going to the person who has ticket number 677. Who has ticket number 677. It is, apparently our speakers are doing quite well today. There you go. And then we have one more prize to give away. A very nice, I'm pretty jealous of this one. It's a nice LCCC sweatshirt. And that is going to the person who has ticket number 692. Congratulations to our door prize winners. Now we are going to talk about our speaker winners. I don't have the other one. Okay, so we are going to begin with our Compelling Voices speakers. We actually have a tie for 4th place. So today, tying for 4th place, we have both Ireland Barnes and Kayla Taylor. So Kayla's not here, but Ireland, if you'd like to come out. Come in front of the screen, people, so we can all see you and we can get some good pictures. Are they in front of the screen? They don't look like they are. In 3rd place, we have Kiera Williams. Finding Your Flow, the ultimate guide to peak performance. Kiera Williams. In 2nd place, Ariana Valley with Why Americans Don't Understand Nutrition. Ariana Valley. And then in 1st place, Keely Henderson with her speech, Practitioner Pitfalls with Eating Disorders. Congratulations. And then the Compelling Voices winners are being brought to me in an envelope. It's not really an envelope as much as it's a piece of paper. And apparently we need to why isn't this working?
IT would be so proud of us right now.
Yep, there we go. Everybody's looking at me. I don't have anything to say right now. I'm happy I reached the end on the results.
Just build intention.
I know, I can't even think of anything to say to fill time, and usually I'm very good at that, but I have nothing right now. Actually, I do have something I can say to fill time. We have some upcoming events at the Communication and Creative Arts Pathway we'd love to invite you all to come to. Ongoing right now, there is an art exhibit that is just outside the door and around the corner. So you could go see our lovely art exhibit, which I actually haven't had an opportunity to see at all, but I assume is delightful. On Thursday, Friday, and Saturday is the theater production, the second weekend of our theater production, and that is over in the Playhouse, and I believe the curtain goes up at 7 p.m. On December 5th, the CCA Club is having an art sale. If you would like to come out to the college, that is on a Thursday. If you would like to come out to the college and have an opportunity to get some early Christmas presents for the people on your shopping list, we would love to see you. And you can come out and support the Communication and Creative Arts Club, which has renamed itself the Community of Creative Artists. Did I get that right? I got that wrong. They keep renaming themselves different things that stand for C, C, and A, and sometimes I have difficulty keeping track. And then finally, on December the 8th is the 7th annual LCCC Holiday Collage, and I believe it is the Wind Ensemble who will be playing some of your Christmas favorites. It is what? It is all of the LCCC musical groups, which will be playing some of your classic and contemporary holiday favorites. Okay, and now Jen DeRushi is going to announce our Creative Voices winners.
All right, in third place, we have Sadie with her speech, To Those Who Haven't Left.
Yeah.
We'll make it easier for Mike. Over here. Yeah, stay here. In second place, we have Riley Mason with her speech on Miracles Are All Around Us. And in first place, Amanda with her speech to the kid I once was, Our Life's Playlist.
Join everybody. We'd like to thank everybody for coming out tonight. We know that your time is valuable, and we appreciate you spending some of your time with us and listening to some of these wonderful students share their thoughts, their ideas, and their passions with you. We hope everybody has a lovely evening and a wonderful holiday season. Sorry, I thought that would work better. I really